Hey there, it's Mitzi. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm continuing my 5-book Friday series, and this will be short story collections. Now I know that a lot of booktubers say they're not fans of short story, and there are a lot of, I'm sure, people that subscribe to this channel that aren't short story readers as well. So this will be a plea to you to please try to find a short story collection that you enjoy, because I really think that it's just you haven't found the right short story collection. I don't know. I think ever since I was young, I've loved short stories. You know, picture books are basically short stories. And when I was a kid, I read a lot of fairy tales, and those are basically short stories. And so one of my favorite collections is the Brothers Grimm's complete collection. This is a beautiful one that I found for a couple of dollars at a secondhand bookstore. It was hardly used. And I love just, you know, every now and then picking up the book and finding another fairy tale to read. I just enjoy that. So I'm always looking for that kind of a feel. And I like the idea of reading a short story right before bed and being done with it. Not, you know, because a lot of times we'll get these long books that we want to read, and then we stay up too late, and then we feel bad the next morning we have to go to work or whatever. So a short story is kind of like, okay, you read it in one sitting and you're done. And so I just like that about a short story. And as I've mentioned before on this channel, I also like short stories so that I can discover new authors, because sometimes, you know, they will have these long stories that I'm interested in, but it's like, do I really want to commit to that? So if I read a couple of their short stories and I like their voice, their style, their tone, whatever, I think, okay, maybe I will commit to a longer story by this particular author. And so for me, it just works, and I just enjoy them. So today I'm going to talk about some of my favorite short story collections that I have on my shelf. And I am always looking for more short story collections. So if you have one that has just blown your mind and you just think everybody should read it, let me know in the comments and share it with the rest of our community so that we can all read those stories as well. So the reason that I even thought of doing this particular 5-book Friday is because last year one of my favorite books that I read was Ray Bradbury's The October Country, and I've talked about this before in a couple of videos, I know, but this has become a favorite short story collection. I think I like just about every story. Well, I like every story in this collection. Not every one of them blew my mind, but I enjoyed every story. And the reason is they are just weird. They're just quirky, twisted, dark, weird stories. And if you follow my channel, you know that I love the Twilight Zone, and that's the feel I had reading this. And again, I read it in October, so during that time I liked those kind of spooky stories. But they weren't stories that scared my pants off or anything. I don't like horror. I don't watch horror movies. I don't like gory things. And these were not that kind of story. They were dark and sinister, but you know, there's a place where it just kind of goes over the edge, and these didn't do that. And so this is the kind of story I really enjoy. So this one is definitely a favorite now on my shelf. Another one that I really love that I have enjoyed reading over and over is the American Gothic Tales by Joyce Carol Oates. This is a great collection of Gothic short stories, and of course I love it because it's all those Gothic tales. Nathaniel Hawthorne to Stephen King is in here. And some of them, of course, I like better than others. I like the classic Gothic tale, and so that's what I like mostly about this collection. My favorite in this collection is William Faulkner's A Rose for Emily. And if you have never read that short story and you're not planning on picking this up, do yourself a favor and find that story. It is the kind of story I like to read, and it might be saying something crazy about me, or twisted about me, but I love that story. So I know you can find that for free online. So look that up, A Rose for Emily by William Faulkner. If I can find it, I'll link it. in the description box. But that's in here, and there's so many others that I love. So if you like Gothic fiction like I do, and you just want a taste of those stories every now and then, this is a great way to do that, and this is a favorite for me. Another one that I have on this list that is a favorite is O. Henry's Complete Tales of O. Henry. Now this is the copy I have, and it really doesn't show you anything. But I like O. Henry stories because they're always, one of the reasons I love short stories is the tight writing. I like that they do not waste words. They tell you the story. It's always just this little snippet of life. And I like that about it. And O. Henry was great at that. He was super talented at writing those very short snippet stories. But one thing I really liked also about the O. Henry stories is a lot of times they have a twist, a surprise. And I love that about a story too. That's one of the reasons I love the Twilight Zone, is because of that twist, that surprise. Now these stories aren't like the Twilight Zone, but they're still that kind of feel at the end of them a lot of times. Just a little something to keep you guessing and keep you reading. And they're not long, again, they're short, and it's just a great example of that tight writing that I do enjoy. So O. Henry is another favorite. This is another one that I discovered, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. I discovered this collection. Now, I already had one collection by Roald Dahl, but this one is my favorite. This one's called The Umbrella Man and Other Stories. And I love every story in this collection. It is full of sinister, twisty stories, and I love them. They're just weird and I don't know, just Roald Dahl kind of stories. Now this is not children's short stories. This is an adult collection. There's nothing bad in them, but they're meant for an adult audience. And for me, if you enjoyed reading Roald Dahl as a child, then you will enjoy these as an adult. They are great, and it is one that I go back to again and again. But my favorite short story collection would have to be Flannery O'Connor's The Complete Stories. This changed everything about the way I think about reading and writing, because I do write as well. And I was introduced to Flannery O'Connor when I was in high school, and we read A Good Man Is Hard to Find, which is her most famous short story, and we had to study that short story, and it blew my mind. I mean, I was just amazed at that story and how she was able to take just a few words and say so much, and that is what this book is full of. Now, she's not for everyone. Flannery O'Connor is definitely not everyone's taste. I love her because she is a Southern writer, and she writes a lot about Southern issues during her time period. I think she died in the early 60s. But she writes a lot about those kinds of things that she dealt with in her lifetime living in the South. And she was born in Savannah, but she ended up moving to another place in Georgia, and I live just like 2 hours from where she lived the rest of her life. And so I know all that she's talking about I wasn't alive when she died, but I came along a decade later. And so I don't know what it is, but I just make such a connection with Flannery O'Connor. When I read her stories, I'm nodding my head. I just get it. And a lot of her characters are freakish kind of characters, and they're kind of hard to take sometimes, but you sometimes just have to look past that and try to see what she's trying to convey, the message she's trying to convey in her short stories. So the reason I love these stories so much is because every story can just be discussed over and over. They are great discussion starters. If you want a great short story collection to just think over, to ponder, this one is a great one. But again, she's not for everyone. But I love her, and she's my favorite. So those are my favorite short story collections, my top 5 short story collections on my shelf. I have others. I have a lot of them that I have actually picked up over the past few months that I want to try, because they're totally different than these. Of course, I love Edgar Allan Poe. being raised in America, we all had to read a lot of Edgar Allan Poe. Probably most American students had to do that. And so, of course, I love Edgar Allan Poe stories. Again, they're Gothic, and I love revisiting those as well. So he's a great one to check out too. So what is your favorite short story collection? Do you ever even try short stories? Let me know in the comments if there's one that you want me to try, or if any of these are some that you've read and you have a favorite short story from one of these collections. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.